Hi there, welcome to Floating in Dreams. This is my eyeshadow palette review for April. Welcome to everybody watching today. Thank you so very much for joining me. In April, I tried out 5 new to me eyeshadow palettes, and today I'm going to be reviewing all 5 of these for you, and I have to say I was really happy with the 5 palettes that I tried out this month. They were all really good. There were some where I was like, maybe not for me, but overall my experience trying these out was very positive. So let me talk to you about these palettes and show you all the looks and swatches and the close-ups that I took so that you can see what I do. In case you didn't know, I test out eyeshadow palettes every single month, and I always try to use every single pan in every single palette I try for the looks that I create for these videos. So there isn't a single pan in these 5 palettes that I didn't try. One of the first palettes I played with this month is the Artitude Cosmetics Urban Neutrals. And this is a brand I hadn't tried before. This is my first Artitude Cosmetics eyeshadow palette. I got this off of MONOLITH. I have a code with them. I'm affiliated. If you want to get 5% off of your next order, then you can. But that's where I get most of my indie eyeshadow palettes nowadays. They just make it so much easier for me. But this is something that I did purchase with my own money from them, and I wanted to try this brand. And when this palette released, some of you were also saying it in the comments, I was like, that looks like a color story that is right up my street. So here is what the Artitude Cosmetics palette looks like. I don't like the outer packaging. This is the actual palette. This is just a sleeve. So I like the sleeve look better than this. So that's why I was like, that already felt a little bit cheap. And then inside, we also get eyeshadows that are good, like they perform well, but I felt it was, like compared to the other things I was trying this month, I mean, there's a Natasha Denona eyeshadow palette in here, so that's steep competition to have. But this was just not exactly what I want from an eyeshadow palette. Yes, it's beautiful. It performs really well. If you've never tried indie eyeshadows, then this can be a nice sort of like first brand to try, I think. But if you've tried as much eyeshadow as I have, this is not going to be super impressive. It has a couple of beautiful shimmers in. This one, this one, this one. The white and then this one. But that's all the shimmers you get. 5 shimmers out of 16 pans. If you know anything about me, you know I like at least a 50-50 split between mattes and shimmers, sometimes a little bit more shimmers than mattes. I don't need mattes, I only need them to set up the look. I don't really like using too many mattes in an eyeshadow, look. It's just not what I like to go for. There is one shimmer that I really enjoy, which is this one right here. It's this taupey rose gold number. Everything else I wasn't super impressed by. And again, if you've been following my reviews, you know that I don't rate eyeshadow palettes by how good the mattes are. By now, any brand on the planet can do a good matte. But can they do a good shimmer that picks up with a brush, that can be blended, and that you don't need 500 layers for it to show up? And that it doesn't crease, preferably. And with this, I feel it's sort of borderline. Some of the shimmers work really well, but for instance, the white here, I'm not sure if you can see. I'm gonna have to hold it up close. Is it focusing? I think it's focusing. But here you can see that there's a huge dent missing from that eyeshadow. Because the first time I went in into it with a brush, and I used very light pressure, a big chunk of it already came out. And I don't know if it's glue what I smell in here, but it has a very strong chemically scent as well. Some of these shimmers have a very smooth, very emollient feeling to it, which upon first buying the palette is going to work wonders. However, I have found that that can sometimes lead to eyeshadows expiring a lot more quickly because of that emollient factor that they have. So I'm not entirely sure on the shelf life of this one. It has beautiful shades in. But here's the thing, another reason why this isn't my favorite is because the mattes are the things that are bringing the fun colors in that you see when you first look at the palette. The shimmers are all a bit meh in terms of colors, I feel. So they're not the interesting bit. I like a lot of these shades though, like this like almost like sagey green. I like this dusty purpley tone we get. I like this one. Like if it's like a murky, dusty, colorful shade, you know I'm gonna like it. So in terms of the looks that I did with this, it worked out quite well. I think I did 3 or 4 looks. It was a couple of weeks ago that I did those, but yeah, I kind of like split the palette into a couple of different looks surrounding those shimmers because I need a shimmer in every single look I do. So that was what I tried to use as sort of like my guideline for creating the looks overall. And that worked really well. The mattes were buildable, a little bit powdery at times. So it is beautiful. If you love mattes, you're going to absolutely adore this thing because it is going to give you some more interesting mattes that we don't see too often from brands. And then you have a couple of fun, exciting shimmers to play with as well. 2 of the shimmers are multi-chrome, so you're going to like that. If you like indie shadows, I think you're going to love this, but I just wanted a little bit more from it. I feel that for the price point this goes for, it's perhaps a little bit overpriced as well. The quality of this palette reminded me most of another UK-based indie brand that I tried a couple of years ago. I no longer have that palette because I wasn't too impressed with the quality. That was Lois Cosmetics. Someone in the comments remembered the name of the brand. They did this really beautiful Orpheus and Eurydice inspired palette. It was absolutely stunning to look at, but I felt like in usage, it wasn't quite delivering what I wanted. And I feel the same way about this. Is it beautiful? Yes. Can you do some really good looks with it? Also, yes. Is this going to be my favorite all-time eyeshadow palette? No. For the people who were watching in March, know that I was gifted the Gourmande Girls Bitten palette, which was my least favorite palette that month. I only tried 3 then, but still. But in the meantime, I did purchase the Frozen Kiss myself when it came back in stock on MONOLITH. So these 2 palettes were in the same order. And I have to say, I'm very, very happy to report that the Frozen Kiss I tried, I like a lot better. I like this better than I did the Bitten. And not because of the color story. The formula in this thing is different. Yeah? The mattes in the Bitten were very patchy for me. I tried to blend them. They would just stick down and I would get like a dark patch that wouldn't blend. They had to be built up a lot in order for them to show up the way I wanted to. So for me, the Bitten had a lot of ifs and buts to it. I know that for a lot of people, it's like their favorite palette of the year already. But I hadn't tried the Frozen Kiss yet. And I had heard so many people raving about this over the Christmas time period. It sold out so quickly on MONOLITH that I was like, I'm missing out. I need to try this. But why this was a winter palette, I don't get it. Because for spring, it was absolutely perfect as well. You get loads of really pretty pastels. There are some dusty shades in. This is like the only true warm tone you get. There's a range of shimmers here that worked really well. The mattes were blendable, easy to build up, really easy to use. I got some really fun shades, some fun looks out of this palette, I should say. And even some of you were noticing that because I wore this palette for a lot of the videos that I posted in Eyeshadow Palette Week. And some of you were saying, you're really selling that Frozen Kiss palette to me because I've been watching some of your videos this week and I keep going into the description box to find out what is on your eyes. And I keep finding out it is a Frozen Kiss. This blue shimmer is out of this world amazing. So yeah, for me, this was beautiful. I did like a purpley toned look with this. I did a blue toned look and something that's a bit more neutrally. So you can go into different directions with this as well. This, I now understand why everybody loves Gourmande Girls. But the fact that my Bitten palette wasn't the same quality as this is, does have me wonder, how consistent are they? Are they going to be consistent enough that each palette you buy from them is going to be the same quality? My guess, maybe not. Which, for palettes that are this expensive, like these retail for over 60 euros. Like I think they're like including shipping especially, but I think these are like 57 euros. At that price point, each palette you make has to be the same quality. And I just feel that with this brand, that may not be the case. So you may be a little bit careful with what you buy from them, but the Frozen Kiss I thought was really pretty. It's colorful, yet there's also something subdued about it. this one was very successful for me. And then I think the thing a lot of people are very curious after whether I liked it, yes or no. It's the Natasha Denona I Need a Warm. For full transparency, I didn't pay for this with my own money. Someone I know gifted this to me because they had a double in their Beautylish whatever bag it is. It's like a mystery bag that Beautylish does every year. And she was like, I already have it. You can have mine. I was like, great. I can test it out for the channel. And I was afraid when I got it home, because I had never been able to see this in real life. I had said when this was launching that I wanted to see it with my own eyes first before deciding whether I wanted to get it. And then earlier this year, I mentioned in a video that was still low-key on a wish list, but I had not been able to find it anywhere in real life. And then my friend was like, you can have mine. So when I got it home and I opened it up, I was like, that is far more warm-toned looking than I had expected. Like, based on what I could find online, this looked so much more warm-toned than I had expected. Also in the swatches, I was like, that's looking straight up orange on me. But then I started putting it on my eyes, and I was like, this is why looks can be deceiving. Like, save for this little corner here, everything else was neutral leaning warm, where I felt like in the I Need a Nude, we got neutral shades that leaned cool with a sparkling, like a sprinkling of a couple of warm tones. This is neutral leaning warm with a sprinkling of cool tones. It's like the I Need a Nude, but in a slightly different direction. So the first look I did focused on this little quad here, where you have this really beautiful, I'm not sure if this is going to be showing up, like you can see the reflection in the mirror. It's this really beautiful shimmer. It reminds me a lot of the shimmer that you get in the New Neutrals remix from Gloss Gods, though. It has the same shift, and I think I like the Gloss Gods one better than I do this one. The Gloss Gods palette is cheaper by 15 euros compared to the Natasha Denona. So if you're looking for this vibe, but you want it to be a bit more affordable, then Gloss Gods kind of does this color story. Because now that I've tried it, I'm like, it's not as warm toned as it looks. And I figured out for myself why this looks more warm toned than it actually is. It's that reflective ring. If it didn't have that, this palette would not look as exciting as it does. Because I felt when I put it on, I was getting similar looks as the looks I get with the I Need a Nude. Especially with the second half of the palette. Like the two looks I did afterwards, yes, it had warmth, but it didn't have this overly warm, overly saturated orange tone to it that I thought I was gonna get. So it was a surprise to me how soft and beautiful this is. Like, if I need to go warm toned, this. But like I said, I do feel like the Gloss Gods New Neutrals Remixed is very close to this, because that also has cooler tones, true neutrals, and some warm tones in. And I feel this palette operates in a very similar vein. And the reason why this isn't super warm toned for me is because the crease shades aren't super warm toned. This isn't super warm toned. This isn't super warm toned. The deepening up shades aren't super warm toned. You get three sort of warm-ish leaning shimmers, but those again on the lids, because of the shine they have, they didn't pull as warm toned as they look in a full-on finger swatch, like sheared out with brushes. I felt this came together. It looked really pretty on. I felt like $1,000,000 wearing this, and it is the really beautiful Natasha Denona eyeshadow palette quality that I know I love. Formula-wise, Natasha Denona is one of my favorite brands. So I'm very happy that Esther gifted this to me, so thank you very much, Esther. I like this a lot more than I had expected. The only shade I didn't love, I think this is a cream to, like, Natasha Denona does these creamy matte shades. I think it's Cream to Matte, the name of the formula. But this was far creamier, this deeper dark brown, than I remember any of my other ones being. So this felt more like a cream than an actual powder. That's why it also has a bit of a dip, because when I stuck my brush in to use it as liner, it kind of like, I was like digging away into the shadow. Yeah, this was beautiful. I love the different textures we got in here. It doesn't have, that's something, if you like Natasha Denona shadows and you like the sparkly things she does in a couple of her things, I feel this doesn't have it. This doesn't have those sparkly topper things. It's mainly like all of the shimmers have a pretty consistent level of shimmer in. So it's mattes with shimmers. And of course you do get that multi-chrome in, Phenomena, that's what it's called. But yeah, this is really beautiful. I was very pleased with what the Natasha Denona I Need a Warm has to offer, and I'm really glad to now have it in my life. And finally, I tested out some Glam Shop. So let's talk about this little quad guy first. This is the Cool Glam, which I just spotted very randomly on their website. I didn't know this existed. I hadn't seen this on their Instagram. I don't feel Instagram shows me Glam Shop all the time, so that's why I'm sometimes behind on the new releases, because I don't think Trend Mood or any other sort of like big social media platform that showcases new beauty releases ever really talks about Glam Shop. So if you've never heard of them before, Glam Shop is a Polish indie brand that do amazing eyeshadows. And this quad, the look that came out of it, it was out of this world spectacular. These two shimmers are life. Like, look at how intense they are, like especially when the light catches it. Like, it's so, so beautiful. And they are silvery grays, but they're not boring grays. I've said this many times, like so many brands insist on doing cool tones and only have them be gray tones. But these are interesting grays. They have a little bit of added oomph to them. You get a nice crease shade, you get a deeper and a lighter gray for like your dimensional stuff, and you get a sort of matte shade for the inner corner or whatever you want to do with it. I do feel like, are these magnetized? I'm not sure. No, these are glued in, which I'm not too sure with. With Glam Shop, a lot of their palettes, especially these quads, they do them as singles as well. So if you only like one shade, you can very often like pick and choose from their website which shade you want. I also have a bunch of their single shadows in my single shadows collection. But yeah, this is a really cute little cool tone quad. Really pretty. It's very, very reminiscent, those two gray shades of the Lime Crime Venus Immortalis. It's giving the same sort of level of intensity, but it has more sparkle to it, which I love. But the pièce de résistance, the best thing that Glam Shop has done in recent years, is the Creme de la Creme. This is the sleeve. I always love it if packaging has a different sleeve than the actual palette, but it just looks really pretty. And this, it's such a gorgeous neutral palette. I wore it all week this week. I did 3 different looks with it. One was based on the pinky tones in here, and then I sort of used each of these like deeper tones in every single one of the looks. So what I like about this and what I like about Glam Shop, they do a lot of really good fair skin friendly eyeshadow palettes. Very often, even if it says that it's neutral, then a brand will still put in so many deep shades that you can't use. This gives you that perfect blend of like some good like lighter like mattes and neutrally things and like shimmers and all that. Like, it has enough variety in that sense, but then it also gives you some deepening up shades. So if you want to go smoky, you can. Or you can very easily use something like this super intense black. Like that black, if you love a really intense black, you're gonna like this black. Because she's intense. This is an intense black shade. But you can use it as liner. That's how I use mine. And I like that this black with the shimmer was a little bit more subtle. And it just pulled a little bit more like what I would want to go for. Like, I very often find a black like this too stark against my skin tone. It's just the whole thing. But this was beautiful. I get a crease shade to go with every single look I want to do. There is a really good variety of mattes and shimmers in here because 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 mattes, and then we get 8 shimmers. No, 7 shimmers and 8 mattes. I can't do mattes. I can't do it today. I can't count. But yeah, so that's good. So it's like roughly a 50-50 split, which I enjoy, and you just get enough shimmers to play with as well. The shimmers in this aren't the same shimmers as you get in this though. I feel that these are more intense and have that sparkly quality to it that you find in a lot of indie brands. So these are like, maybe, can I show you this? Like, these are far more reflective than these ones are. These are almost like satin. Like, I would call them satin metallics. Like, they have metallic quality to them. but going on, they're super soft and smooth. Like, they smooth your lids. Like, I'm over 40, so my lids are starting to look a little bit more crepey than they used to. I'm definitely starting to see that, and I know from a lot of people who watch my videos who are older than me, who will say like, oh, wait till you hit 50, you're not gonna like these sparkly things anymore because you're gonna need a shimmer that sort of like lays more flat. If that's what you're looking for, and if you have never tried many like indie eyeshadow palettes and you want to, but they scare you because of that sort of very flaky shimmer quality that they do, then this may be nice. And especially if you have fair skin, this can be a really, really pretty palette. It's not as cool toned as it looks though, because the pinky tones are a little bit more warm leaning. It's more pinky peach. So that may be something to bear in mind. You do get good cool tones in here, but I feel that overall it's mainly like a true neutral palette, and it has some beautiful shades in. I really enjoyed wearing this. Like, these kind of very subtle neutral looks is what I love wearing to work. I'm wearing something similar on my eyes today. This is a look I did with Fenty Beauty, which I filmed actually. So if you want to see how I created this makeup look for myself, then you can go and watch the other video. And I now want to keep my Fenty Beauty eyeshadows because the Snap Shadows were hated on by so many people, but I liked it because it had that more subtle vibe to it. And it's what I love about K-Beauty. It's because it is subtle that makes the palette. I love indie eyeshadows. I love really sparkly, shimmery things, but sometimes I don't always want that. Sometimes I want something a bit more subtle, a bit that, like, something that's easier to use, and it's something like the Creme de la Creme from Glam Shop is going to see you through just perfectly. So this was a beautiful palette to me. I really enjoyed all the looks I pulled out of it. I say for the Artitude Cosmetics one, there wasn't a single dud here. And even the Artitude Cosmetics one, I know I was quite negative about it, but that's because it wasn't giving me what I wanted. But I can see why so many people like that brand. It has really good, interesting mattes. I just wish the shimmers were better in that palette. So thank you so very much for joining me here today. Let me know how you feel about any of these eyeshadow palettes, if you've tried them yourself as well. I would love to hear your opinions. And if there's anything you want to see me try next, then maybe I can like try something as well, because I'm all caught up. You're going to see very, very soon. I think later this week, you're going to see me do a haul of what I will be testing out in May also for the eyeshadow that I have for you. So yeah, there's going to be that. And yeah, I think I have my next 2 eyeshadow palette reviews already tested. Like I've already like planned ahead, you could say, for those 2. But yeah, if there's anything in particular you would like to see me do, let me know, because maybe I can test that out for you if I haven't tested it out already, because I've tested out a lot of eyeshadow already in my day. So maybe if there's a review up, then I will be able to direct you to that. So yeah, for now, thank you so very much for being here and watching my video. And then I hope you would like to stay tuned for more. I make regular eyeshadow palette related content over on the channel. So if you'd like to stay tuned for more, then I hope to see you again very, very soon in a new video. Bye-bye.